having that sensible decision to plan it out, to do a job that you didn't want to do for a while. So what was the plan in terms of the transition? Did you forecast, okay, a year and then I'm going to do this, I'm going to test out a strategy? Can you run us through that quickly?
Yeah, so I learned about various property strategies, began working with agents, began to advertise privately as well, and started to get a couple of, so if I go back to when I bought my first house, I left the initial first course, and my plan was to remortgage the house and do the kitchen up, as a lot of people buy a house to live in, they want to do some work to it. I went on this particular course, met some people, and then I remember saying to my dad, right, I'm not going to do the kitchen, I'm going to buy another flat. And everyone probably thought I was mad. This was just starting in 2008. And so I bought a couple of, as much as I can with what I refinanced. And at the time I bought a flat and it was 40,000. So I could use a 15% deposit. So I only needed 6,000. So I was able to pretty much fund that one through the remortgage. And then I began to use sort of various strategies, and it got to a point where I was at 3 or 4 properties. And I know about this because I've spoke to other people who are further down the line than me, and they sort of use the same rule. And I sort of got to 60 or 70% of what I was earning in the job, sort of passively. And I know we'll talk about passive income and property later on, but it was there on a great month, all being well, all tenants paying, everything great. I sort of got to sort of 60, 70% of my income. So at that point, I then realised that, okay, so for the other 30%, I'm now going to buy back 40 hours of my time by leaving that job. And I suppose it was that leap of faith. If I can't, I've got a buffer of 6 to 12 months of that 30%, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And if I can't make it work after then, I'll have to restock and, look at something else. But it wasn't because I get phone calls or emails sometimes of people who have been on a course, been hyped up over the weekend, left their job on the Monday morning, and then the reality's hitting the next month. All the bills are coming in. It's not quite as simple as they thought. And unfortunately, in some cases, they've then spent, their deposit money on training courses, which could be even a worse situation to be in. So it was structured, but there had to be that leap at some point. And I thought, if I can get to 60, 70%, I'm willing to. That was my sort of risk profile. Some people make the jump straight away, and good luck to them. But for me, that was just the way I wanted to do it.
No, that makes sense that you tested the waters first, right?
Yeah.
So you picked up what three to 4 properties.
There's about four properties, buy to let, and those properties were making about £200 to £300 a month cash flow. And I knew it was a repeatable process because I was spending evenings and weekends talking to so many agents. I was doing sort of private viewings, so I had adverts out there, and when I got calls, I was going to see the properties. So I was testing the water, and I knew there was more of a, and obviously I could see the recession coming, and I thought, well, it'd come by that point, and I thought this is going to be a good time to buy. I suppose I was obsessed with reading books on, the amount of millionaires made in recessions, and really just, I thought if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it now. My youth, I think, helped me because I wasn't sort of, again, nothing to anybody that's, a lot younger or a lot older, but I was sort of 26, 27. And I thought, this for me, no kids, no, obviously a mortgage, but no massive dependence as such. So I thought, if I'm going to do it, I'll do it now. And then if it doesn't work, we'll restock. I suppose that's the beauty of youth as well. Sometimes you don't think as much, which can help you in some ways.
I think, like you said, I was similar, I guess. I did a lot of my property and my business endeavors very early, very young. But I think I was so young that I didn't think that I would ever do things differently as I got older. And it's not until you start getting older that other things start creeping in, other realities. But I think it goes back to, and I can't speak for, like you said, people at different ages, but it goes back to, if your why is strong enough, you will find a way to do it. Definitely. No matter what. Definitely. I know people who have decided to leave their jobs very late in life and get into property.
Yeah.
Not saying they had loads of money saved up or anything like that, but they found their reason why they were going to do it and did it the right way for them at the time.
I think so. I think, and I always had the mindset, and I didn't believe. Some people said, "Oh, it's negative in a way," but I don't believe that. But I always thought, if I don't, there's always a plan B. If it doesn't happen, I'm willing to go and do any job until I get what I want after. So, I mean, I play a lot of tennis, or used to. I still play a bit now, but that was something I was going to do when I left uni. I was thinking about coaching, but, whether that's cleaning or, I've got friends who are builders who, when I was at uni, I hod carried for a friend, which was a good sort of introduction to how hard a lot of when the refurbishments are being done, it's great to see them come together, but the work that goes into it. But I was willing to, I didn't have this sort of attitude that, I can't do that, or that's, I'm too good for that. It was a case of, if it didn't go the way I wanted it to, I had to go and get a job, any job I would do, and I'll, make my way back. And, that just gave me the comfort blanket I needed. But obviously I was confident that it would work. It was working, but it's just that going from a part-time sort of, hobby's the wrong word, but a part-time investment alongside something, to it being your full-time job. I have to admit that first Monday morning when I left my job, and it was the camaraderie as well, because I worked in quite a big company. So I was around probably 100 people a day just in my team, to go into me on my sofa, with my cup of tea and thinking, right, this is it now. So I've got to plan my day. I've got to go and use my time in the most, just build it up from there. So I lived very frugally as well for 3 or 4 years. I've never been one to sort of be flash or anything like that, but I just decided, right, everything I make is going back into the business. And so, I was driving the old Rover 200 for, a good few years over that. And it just, it was just keeping everything. I was just very focused on putting it all back in. And that's a key point, that any business you start, even now with Embrace and the first 2-3 years, it all went back in. And that's what I think a lot of people need to realise, is if you can do that, it just helps you long term, because you've got stuff there for a rainy day.
Yeah, that people tend to increase their lifestyles with the money they start making, don't they?
Exactly.
So that £100 a month car on a lease, or £200 a month car on a lease, when you get another property, becomes 300 or 400.
Yeah.
And you're actually not better off. You just got slightly nicer things, but you're inhibiting yourself in the long run, aren't you?
Completely. And it's like, and it depends on what, if you're in the short, I was always in this for the long term, but, I had some really good months sourcing where I thought, God, I'd have had to have worked 4 or 5 months of my old job to get this. And it was very, very, you sort of thought, God, I could go out and buy this now. And, you had to put the reins on and go, no, just stick to your plan, keep everything up there. And, it's the delayed gratification side of things, it will come. And it's funny as well that you beg for, you always want these things, so to speak. And then when you get to a point where you could maybe have them, they don't necessarily seem that important anymore. So I always thought, I wanted to get an Aston Martin. That was my thing. And now it's kind of like, I've got an Audi. It's a nice car, but I don't really think I've got to go and buy that. And it doesn't interest. I'd rather have a holiday. I'd rather have, a week off, or, explore the world.
Find that you start thinking in terms of deposits, right? So you go, I could buy this car now, but that's another deposit for another property, and you kind of get into this. You're just engrossed in the whole process.
Yeah, really. And that is important. It's kind of like working out how you, because I know people who built portfolios of 50 properties that didn't necessarily want that. And similarly, people with 5 or 10 properties are over the moon, because that's just, gives them what they need, and it's in line with where they want. Because, there has to be that balance where you've got to work out what rewarding to you is. So for some people, they'll, like I say, have a good month, and they might want to go and, for argument's sake, buy themselves some new clothes. For other people, they're not bothered about any of that, and their reward is they have a month off every year and go on a nice holiday. It's all what that reward is to you, and for everyone, it's different.
Yeah, I guess it's working out what you want in the first place, and then almost working backwards, right?
Yeah.
So what does your ideal life look like? And like you said, you can get in the trap of almost trying to build too many properties or build too big a portfolio.
Yeah.
Like you said, getting to 50. But really, 10 would have given you the right balance in life where you enjoyed your life a lot more.
Exactly.